Hi, thanks for tuning in. If you're returning, thanks for returning. I hope you continue to like, share, and subscribe to videos with someone else. You never know what someone's going through, and my videos may reach them. Um, and if you're new here, thanks for tuning in, as I said in the beginning, and I hope you subscribe and return. So, today I wanted to talk about when I worked for the federal government. In 2009, I was hired at Homeland Security, Department of Homeland Security, and I accepted an internship position at a GS9 level. I was also accepted for an additional position at a GS11, and I decided to go with the GS9 internship because I could start as soon as possible. So, since I had been out of work since 2008, I thought I should go ahead and just, get back to work, get back to having a salary, having an income. And it was a good break. I needed the break because I had gotten ill while I was on my previous job, and turns out I was pregnant. Pregnant with twins. So anyhow, I had already had the labor and delivery. I had already went through many months of healing, and I was actually going through a tumultuous time. It was a period of time where I had great highs and lows. I was very happy to finally have had a son. I had previous children, but they were girls, and I finally had a boy, so I was ecstatic. However, the twin, the second baby, died. So I was also grieving. And how do you grieve and be happy at the same time? An infant brings such happiness and such smiles to your face, and getting to know this new tiny person and take care of uh, this small baby that was inside of me, and then miss and feel tormented and feel like a hole was ripped into my heart as well, because the other child had died. So I would have many days where I would smile with tears. And I learned how to just cope in that way. And it might not have been healthiest way to function or to, live at the time, but it worked for me. So what I am realizing is that, during this time is that, people don't understand me. People don't know what I'm doing. People don't know what I mean. People are looking at me because my faces that I'm making are kind of indifferent, but it was really due to my internal emotional mood swings. So I could just be sitting at my desk, and I was having a good day, and then all of a sudden I think of, you know, having to cremate a child, an infant. And you know how your heart feels with that sorrow. If you've experienced loss, and most of us has experienced some type of horrible some situation, you name it, you put a label on it, I won't. And feeling overwhelmed, and I would be dealing with that internally. I didn't have anybody to talk to. I did not go to talk to anyone. Like, I didn't seek therapy or anything or any help. I just I managed. I was like, okay, I have two older children. I have my new child and my husband. We're a happy family. And so I'm at the office, and I would have these days where I would just feel angst, just torn apart, because I had to leave my son at the sitter before before he, started his day, or before I started my day at work, and just missing him and just hoping that he was okay, and knowing that people weren't understanding who he was, or, because twins have that twin link, that twin connection. I'm talking about twin children, twin siblings. They have that twin link and that twin connection. And my son had his twin gibberish, which was unlike any other toddler or whatever amount, 3, 4 months, 6 months, 7 month, 12-month old baby talk I had ever heard before. So he had his twin gibberish going on, and I took him to the doctor because I was like, what's going on? I don't know what this is, And the doctor explained that he had his own twin language, but he didn't have his twin to speak his twin language with. And we just had to let him outgrow it, because eventually he would forget about it because he didn't have his twin talking in twin gibberish. I'm using the doctor's lingo, by the way, the pediatrician at the time. And, thank God for that pediatrician, because he walked me through a lot, because I had no clue of what to expect from a living twin and a dead twin. It was things that I had never thought of or imagined or fathomed that would occur between twins. I didn't know. So this particular doctor knew. He was very familiar. And it took me about 3 tries to find the right pediatrician, maybe 4. And he, like I said, godsend. He really helped my husband and I figure out how to communicate with our son as best we could, to ease his frustration as well as our own. And then eventually, a little bit past like the 15 month, 16, 17 month stage, he got into speaking real English. And so it was a few months after this time when I, was, and I know I'm jumping back and forth with this story, but this is where my thoughts would go, because it's the heartache of it all, because it hadn't gone away. So it's just a continuous buildup of just not knowing what to expect or what to do, how to do it, how to be a good parent and to our living twin. And then when do we tell him that he's a twin? And then, while the rest of us are grieving the other twin. And he has no idea. He has no knowledge of the other twin, as far as we know. And I'm at work and I'm new. You're not into the swing of things. You don't necessarily know the office dynamics yet. How's the social settings. You don't know any of that. So as I'm managing how to step through life at home, dealing with the situation I just explained, I'm also a new federal government employee at the Department of Homeland Security in an internship role where I was the lead. I was the lead government person over 2 major databases that affected the citizens of the United States. And one day I go into the office and my manager had taken it upon herself. Well, I shouldn't say my manager. She was my supervisor, Joy. She had taken it upon herself. And let me just say this. Joy was not a joy. Joy was a cruel, heartless alcoholic who was suffering from bipolar disorder and some other mental illness that I did not know. I had no knowledge that she was suffering from this. Now, I began to find out that she was an alcoholic when she started coming into work and smelling like she had been in a distillery all weekend or for the last 3 or 4 days. And then when her hair started to look greasy and her face started to look greasy as well, and it started to seem like she had a smell, a body odor, if you will, because she had decided to drink her way through my new employment and me being her newest staff member, only staff member, and the first time she had a staff member as well. She decided that she was going to drink her way through it, and then she decided that she was not going to bathe, because I'm going to keep it as clean as possible. So that was odd. And then, the weekly team meetings were, for lack of a better word, weird. And the contractor staff that she did have had been with her for many years. So they knew her. They knew when she was reaching her struggles, her lows, I should say. They knew when she was stumbling into her drunkenness again, but they didn't know me, right? So I began to try to familiarize myself with people in the office. Of course, they were all contractors. So looking at me, oh, evil government employee, we don't trust you. I'm not telling you a thing. Evil government employee, you're new here. You're not getting me fired. And so I just remained bewildered until the day I just cried. I just sat in my desk and I just cried. And when I tell you guys I cried, like I got into the office, and because I'm not discussing the days when she would run into my office, or should I say stumble, because our offices were right next to each other, and she would stumble into my office and hold the door and ask me some out of the blue question, and I of course didn't have an answer for it because I'm stumped. Didn't have anything to do with our work or any assignments that she had given me or any paperwork or documents that I had been studying and preparing, or nor the databases or anything like that. So it was usually questions about the union, questions about the thrift savings, like federal and government employee questions. So mind you, I'm new. So I'm still familiarizing myself with those things as a new federal employee, as well as the office itself, right? So, some days I would just be like, okay, I've been putting off this HR paperwork for too long, and I would just walk over there. I was like, okay, I got to walk over to the HR office and I need them to explain this to me because I've been calling and they're not answering. I get there, nobody's there. So I said, well, this explains why they're not answering, right? And at the same time, I can't answer these questions that Joy is coming to my door asking me. So I come into work the day that I was just boohooing, and my lights don't work. I sit down and I log in, and my lights don't work. And then I don't know why. And I said, okay, that's fine. I remember it was a cloudy day. I opened the blinds more, try to get more light into the office because I had a corner office and we were upstairs. And we're not in a city setting, we're in one of these business parks that you find in any, suburban area, right? So it's not like it was, surrounded by buildings, and no, nothing like that. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, wow, it's nothing but trees out here. I'm not getting a lot of light in here. That's okay. I'll figure out, what to do. So I'm sitting in my chair, and then I try to log into my computer, and I log in using the same username and password that I had been given since I, had been there. And then in runs the supervisor, and the supervisor is a GS15. Supervisor's admin. And she tells me, she's like, get up, Octavia, get up. And I'm like, why? What's going on, right? Because all I know is my lights don't work. My supervisor is a drunkard and she's not bathing and she's starting to smell. And the contractors are standoffish and they don't want to talk to me and they're borderline mean. And I'm dealing with, my supervisor who is a mean drunk. Also, mind you, the supervisor is dating one of the other GS employees downstairs. They're homosexual. They are a homosexual lesbian couple. I don't have a problem with that. They have a child that they're raising together. I learned all of these great things in those very few first days when people were actually speaking to me. And then when she decided to fall off the wagon and trigger her bipolar disorder, then it was like I was shut out. I was shut out because they were shutting her out, or I don't know, what do you call that? When people clearly see people's mental disorder but do not acknowledge it as an illness. I don't get that. Just because we can't see someone with a runny nose or hooked up to some machines or injecting some type of medications into them, like for diabetes or etc., that they assume that mental illness is not an illness. And instead they ostracize people, and that's what they did to her. And so I am looking back, saying the words that I didn't have to explain the situation that was occurring around me. And I realized then, I'm in a bad place right now. And there's no one that's going to talk to me because I decided to go to work before my clearance was completed. So my background clearance check was still in process, and I had given this investigator every person that I would have been in contact with, and he explained to me from the start that he only wanted me to give him people that I have been in contact with recently, like within the last 4 to 7 years. And I said, oh, okay, no, that's fine, So that excluded like some of my old friends that I hadn't talked to in 4 years or something like that. But, out the blue, she'll call me or whatever. Like I didn't include that person. And he started to call me and say, well, I need another friend. Well, I need another, not friend, I need another reference for you. And I was thinking, well, God, excuse me, what's going on that you need to talk to more people that know me? And then meanwhile, because let me not forget this, the people that I used to talk to once or twice a week started to call me only once or twice a month, or not at all. So I'm sitting here thinking, what is going on? I don't even know what's happening. It's like everybody was shutting me out. So when your heart is heavy because you've lost a child, but yet trying to be uplifted because you just had a child, and then you're starting a new job, you have reasons to be happy. Do you understand? But then you start to think, okay, are my friends, are my associates, are my acquaintances, shunning me or, leaving me out? They're jealous. Are they haters because I have a government job now, or they don't trust me? And on top of that, at the time, I was married to a Hispanic man, a Latino man. And this Latino man of mine had illegal alien family members. Raise your hand if you didn't know that, because my hand is raised. Because do you know that I work in Homeland Security? I remember having to go home and saying to him, stop talking to me about this. Do not tell me, because if I don't know that your family members are going through this stuff, then I don't have to go to work and say anything, because I read the paperwork. If I don't know, I will not be held accountable. So I would rather not know. And that put us in a predicament, with family, because now we're not helping. No, I can't help. Octavia has a federal government job. She works for Homeland Security. And I remember him saying on the phone, la migra, like, in this excited state to help trigger or help his family members understand she's la migra. Like, I can't talk to you about this. I can't talk to her about this. We can't help. And when that phone hung up, I knew things were changing. So the amount of stress. God. And it was nothing I could do because I'm still learning the ins and out of the job. I'm still learning. What can I do? What can't I do? What can I know about, his illegal family? And what can't I know? Hey, how about this? Tell them to go back and file the correct paperwork. Just because I am a citizen and I know that that is the correct route, right? I know that much. So I said that and they weren't happy, but that's fine because this is not something that I entertain or have interacted with, because you don't have to, they should not have put that expectation on me to care or want to help, being that I am a citizen of the United States. And even if I work for the federal government or not, I don't want to hear about someone coming into the United States of America illegally. I don't appreciate that. I don't approve of it, because there's a proper way to do things. And the reason why I'm saying that today is because I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel as strongly about the statement I just made then as I do now. But back then, I knew that that was what was right. Do you get what I'm saying? It was a difference. I knew that's what was right. That's what they should do. And it was like, that's it. I didn't put any more thought or energy into it. But now today in 2024, I understand this is a serious issue and a problem. And I feel so strongly about those words. I don't want to know or hear about someone coming into the country illegally, or it should, when I say come into the country, crossing the borders into America by foot in a vehicle without having their correct paperwork. I feel very strongly about that. I'm against those actions and behaviors, because I know that those actions and behaviors have serious consequences. And I knew that then, but I know so much more now about the consequences that incurs, both physically and spiritually. Okay? So I'm in a rock and a hard place at work. I decided to put it out of my mind. I said, if they don't bring it up, I won't say anything. And I left it at that. Yes, I took my oath and I took my pledge and I got my badge. Yes, I had done all of that. I had been wearing my badge. But like I said, I told him while they were telling him, we cannot know this information, because if you know, you're going to try to tell me and I cannot know. So I had him hang up the phone. So guess what? Even still to this day, I don't know the information about that family member that was trying to cross the border illegally. I don't know that information. But it weighed on me. Back then, it weighed on me because I was trying to deal with other stuff that I had not really dealt with. I was trying to deal with it on a daily basis and still trying to heal emotionally. But my emotions were all over the darn place. And because I haven't mentioned this yet, I was a 3/4 to full-time student at college at this time, coupled with being a homeowner. and like I said, I said I was married to Milton. No, we weren't married yet. Oh, my bad. We were probably what they consider common law then, because we had been living together for many years at that time, but we had been dating for over 10 years. but we have been living together probably 4. So is that common law? I think that might be enough for common law. I'm not sure. But, and we went on and got married later at a later date in 2011. So while I'm at this job at Homeland Security, they're playing with me mentally. Okay, that's what I say. And so the admin rushes in and tells me to get up. Then she sits in my chair. So I'm standing there like, what is happening? So I'm saying that to say these are all of those things that I've explained in detail were weighing on my heart, were floating around in my mind, was running through my veins, because that's how deeply it was affecting me. And she's like, you're logging into the wrong thing. And in walks my supervisor, Joy, with this evil, maniacal laugh. And she and I both just stopped, and we just turned and we looked at her, and it was like we were afraid to move. So the admin was like, Joy, do you know anything about what's happening with Octavia's computer? And she's like, no, I don't. In this tone, this low tone I've never heard her use before, okay? Now, mind you, like I said, greasy hair. Now, I have not said what race she is, but she is not an African American. Grease is not normal for this particular race's hair. Let's put it that way. Shiny skin indicates a lack of water for this particular race. And maybe also poor diet. You know, I don't want to sound bigoted or anything like that. I'm not. I'm trying to describe what was going on, because and barely touch on it at the same time, because clearly she was struggling mentally. Do you get what I'm saying, guys? Like, she's struggling mentally. She's not eating. She's drinking very heavily alcohols, and very heavily, and to the point where she smells like an open bottle has just been, like, bad. And then on top of that, body odor. So finally, 30, 40 days of this, we're probably going into like the 50th something day of this. And the contractor comes to me and says, Octavia, what are we going to do? What is going on? But before I get to that, Joy had been in my office. Now, I have no proof of this, but she was aware. Let me say that. Joy was aware that either herself or someone had been in my office and had logged into my brand new PC right out of the box, okay? That only I had logged in, and they had logged into a database that was basically on the LAN. I mean, I don't know the term. Everyone could see everything that I was doing. And at that time, it was illegal because I had not been granted my clearance. So I was not even supposed to be in that database. But they had done something so that when I sat down at my desk in the morning, that's what I saw. That's what I logged into. But for me, it appeared to be the same exact thing that I always had been logging into. Okay. And it was wrong. But how was I supposed to know that? It's not like I had been on the other side of it and I had my clearance, and now I know, okay, this is this database, which you can log into. This is this database, which you can't. So like I said, my computer was brand new out of the box, which had my login, which was not connected to any databases, because meaning I myself and the tech person who set up my computer had not logged me in or connected me to any of the databases, because I didn't have my clearance to do that. So someone else had took it upon themselves to come and use my computer to do that, so that when I logged in, it connected me to everything without my knowledge and awareness. And then it almost made it seem like I was committing a criminal act. I'm just going to say that because of the horror on the admin's face, right? So I'm standing there, I'm stunned at both what the admin has just said to me, and now Joy at my door acting like some evil in the dark shadow person that just set me up and I'm going to get fired. Because mind you, I'm an intern. Now, mind you, I'm 30 something years old. I'm an intern, right? But it's still a federal government job. It's still a salary. It's still an income. I'm still being able to pay my car note and help pay the mortgage and feed my kids. You know what I mean? So it's like, I need an income. I want to work. I need to have an income. I need to have a salary. So I'm there, right? And I know that this can progress. I know that this can turn into a full-time permanent position. If not there, somewhere, right? And now I feel like, oh, maybe not. And when I tell you, tears used to come to me very easily. And as a Black woman that was raised in the inner city of Chicago by mostly Black women, in my family is what I'm saying, mostly women helping to steer me and grow me into the woman that I am. You don't cry. You don't get to cry. What are you crying for? Let me beat it out of you. What are you crying about? It's almost like, is that the 80s equivalent to, well, did you die? To the 2010s, did you die? But did you die? Like, and for a kid, that was a lesson that I don't want to say gave a scar, because it wasn't a scar. What do we call it in the Black community? We call it a complex. It gave me a complex. Look, I'm scratching like as I say it, like, whoa, don't cry. Okay, I get it. Don't ever cry. But like I said, my hormones were all over the place, after this birth, and tears were coming. So anyway, I didn't cry. I choked my emotions back down inside of me. I swallowed very hardly to choke back that wanting to cry and to feel sorry for myself and to feel bad and let my emotions run, because that's what they wanted to do, and it would not have been good in the workplace. And the admin simply said to me, it's okay. We're going to get you logged into this one. And I said, okay. So she's like, this is the one that you log into and not this one. So it was like one will hover at the top because it had like a, how things are alphabetical. So it had a higher alphabet letter as the start. So that was at the top. And then my login was at the bottom. So I was like, okay, no big deal. And she was like, yeah, just don't. Octavia, remember, don't log into that. And I said, okay. So get this, y'all. So I'm at work. I'm in the office, and I'm logged into the right one. I lock my computer, just like I'm not new to working on government sites. You lock your computer before you walk away. I lock my computer. I turned off my light because I knew I was going to be gone for a meeting, and then I was going to be going to lunch. So I knew I was going to be gone at least 2 hours. I come back. I go to log in. Guess what I'm logged into? The wrong database. How? I didn't do it. I have been checking, triple checking, quadruple checking all day to make sure I'm logged into the right thing. I step out of my office. I step out of the building for 2 hours. I come back. I'm logged into the wrong thing, and it won't let me log in. And now I'm like, okay, what's going on? It's almost like, okay, we'll set her up this way now. Now we'll log her into this wrong database that she's been told not to log into. And when she gets back, she tries to log into it, and then she can't. And she's not paying any attention to it. Or not, right? Because they don't know. But I felt set up. I could feel the setupness of this whole particular moment, right? And so I'm calling technical support. I'm calling the help desk line, and I'm like, hey, I can't log into my computer. It looks like I'm logged into the wrong database. I wasn't logged into that database this morning, but I'm logged into it now. And now I can't log into my computer. So it's like, Oh, now tell on yourself, Octavia, because you logged into it even after being told not to log into it, which isn't true. So I asked the help desk guy, I said, hey, I'm logged into this wrong database. I said, can you tell me, because I'm not that dumb, what time does it say I logged into this database? It says I logged into this database approximately 38 to 40 minutes after I had first left the office. I said, hey, I was in a meeting. I have proof that I was in a meeting in another building. Actually, I was with the SES in a meeting. And the SES is the manager, the senior executive supervisor over my GS15, who was my supervisor, and over myself as well as my supervisor, Joy, the senior executive staff, SES. I was in her meeting. I wasn't here. I didn't log in. I said, do you know if anybody was in the building? He's like, I don't know what's going on because, you're upstairs on the second floor, Octavia, and we're down here on the first floor and we're all the way on the other end of the building. I was like, yep, that's true. That's true. He's like, yeah. He's like, and I had to take lunch at a different time, so I wasn't here at the normal time. I would have been here, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, well, cool. I said, well, can you just make a note that somebody did this and it wasn't me because I was in a meeting at this time? He's like, okay, cool, don't log into your computer. So for the rest of that day, I can't log into my computer. Mind you, I'm working on documents that affect a major database that is preventing the creation of another database in another potential branch that they're trying to create and get funding for in the office. So now you see like how heavy, like I'm like, my responsibilities are so heavy and it's just me. I had a staff and I came to work and Joy decided to fire my staff. I'm sorry, did I say that earlier? Yeah, she comes to work. First, one guy, he just quits when he sees that they hired me. He just quits. And I was like, is it because it's me? Is it because I'm Black? Is it because I'm an intern? He was like, I didn't know any of that. He's like, I know you're Black. He's like, it's not that. And he just laughed at me. He was like, it's because of Joy. And then he left the building. So that's all I've ever been told, right? That was my second day. And then a month into me being there, she fires my staff and has him escorted out within 30 minutes. This man is looking at me crying. He's like, Octavia, about to cry. He's like, Octavia, I have a family. Octavia, I'm the only provider in my family. I was like, dude, because I don't remember his name. I didn't call him dude at this, just out of respect. I'm like, I couldn't help you because like I said, I'm new. Joy fires him. So now that I've read all of these documents, when I tell you these documents were like books, y'all, they're so big and thick and heavy. And then it started to click. I was like, oh, snap. This is a how-to, basically, on how to create this database. The guy had wrote up the whole freaking thing. And when I tell you, he had left instructions so detailed. Now, I can understand someone just starting. They're not familiar with Office. They're not familiar with the lingo, the terms. Everyone has acronyms nowadays in these offices. And this database connects to that database, and this database connects to that database and this database. But these two databases only do this, and this one does both of these things and supports these other 5. And you know what I mean? So once I get to like the second stack of documents, it starts to click in my freaking head. And I was like, I see the freaking database. I see it. I get it. So I go back to my first stack of documents, which was the how-to. And I'm like, I didn't freaking know I was reading a how-to because he labeled it something. Oh, so weird. He labeled it something else. It didn't say guide to building the database or it never said it anywhere. It was so freaking high tech. Okay. So just the way this man was thinking, I understand why they paid him so much money. He basically left to go be an employee at the contracting company that he was working for, and they were about to pay him like $200,000, probably $600,000. These contractors get paid amazingly. And federal government employees that I was, maybe 51,000, maybe 70,000 for some other black people that I knew that were government employees. Maybe, but if you're white, on the other hand, if you're white, now I don't know about your area, and this is my experience, okay? If you're white, oh, you make 90,000, you make 100,000, you have a 6-figure salary, but not the black people. So I start to get the database, right? So I start to realize this is the point of contact. She can explain this part to me so that we can start putting these pieces together and building it. So what she did when I contacted her, when I reached out to her to make a meeting, what she did was she tested me, y'all. My understanding, my comprehension of the database. It was so slick the way she did it, so smooth. And I'm calling it a test, but it wasn't. It was like she wanted to know, do I really get it or not? Like, do I know it or not, right? And so she she sent me this email and she's like, yeah, I'll meet with you on this day and this day. And I was like, dang, why is it so far away? But then she threw these 2 questions out at me, right? So then when I was like, oh, okay, I got to figure out these answers to these questions. Because, of course, you got to respond to the email, right? You have to reply. And then I was like, oh, she wanted to know if I knew that, right? Like I said, I'm still learning the dynamics of the office. Here's one clear example. And once I responded to that, she moved the meeting up until the next day in the afternoon. This woman was out of the office and she was like, I'll be there tomorrow to meet with you in the afternoon. Just for me, y'all, because I got it. And she was there as the instructional person. I did not even know that till I met her. Went in her office and I was like, why does she have a huge whiteboard and all this stuff? She was hired as the instructional person to help people with the comprehension and the expansion of the databases. But her title didn't freaking say that, Gosh, these darn acronyms. You don't know what all these things mean, and you can't put these terms together to be like, okay, it's just that, until you've been there a while, right? So I had been there some months, and I was starting to get it. And guess who gets mad and interrupts the meeting? Joy. Knock, knock, turns off the light in the middle of our meeting. Did she come in the office? No, she walking by. So this woman that I'm meeting with is clearly ticked because it's her office. She's like, give me a second, Octavia, I'll be back. And she goes and she has some choice words with Joy in the hallway. And I'm thinking, oh, crap, right? So that's not the only time that this has happened. So then I start to schedule meetings with other parts of the office, right, in different branches. But my database supports what they do. Like one staff enters the information, they feed in the information. Another staff, they manage the information because it's being transferred and used in another part in their database, and they control and monitor that database. So guess who's at the freaking window, y'all? Not even in the building. How creepy and psychotic are you to walk across through the business park, okay? Think suburban business park. You see this nice building, 2-floor building. I'm on the first floor in the meeting. She knows exactly which end of the building I'm on, right? Meeting with this certain person. This is my second meeting. I'm meeting with this lady. I'm in her cubicle. Somebody's knocking. We're all looking around like, what the heck is happening? This woman has walked across the sidewalk, across the grass, up to the windows, and is knocking and peeking through the window. Guess what the staff does? This woman that I'm meeting with, and finally, the wheels are turning. Like, my brain is getting it. We're about to get this database up. I'm about to be able to write this code, this program. I'm going to be able to get me a staff because I can tell them what to do now, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm getting it. I'm trying not to show my excitement, right, at work because, I understand I'm still learning. I don't want to bring any unnecessary, attention, because number one, that's not me. But number two, if they ask me, can I speak it? Can I speak this lingo? Can I, I was like, let me go to more meetings and find out. Let me meet with these other branches that assist with all the connections to all these databases and see if I can just talk this. Can I put it in a sentence, right? I'm in this second meeting with this woman. She's starting to give me all of the information that I need. It's like eating good pasta. You get me? Like I'm happy. I'm full, right? We're hearing this knocking. All of a sudden, ring, 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 ring. She ignores it. Ring, 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 ring. She ignores it. Some guy comes to the cubicle's like, look, the boss wants to see you right now. So she gets up and she leaves, and she comes back. She's like, well, this meeting is over. Not only was the meeting is over, when she came back, she shut up all the blinds completely, and they turned the lights off in the entire office area. And she told me I had to leave. Why? Because Joy and the GS15 and other people on the staff were busy misbehaving and pulling pranks on people. And so they knew the MO because they've been in, contractors. Her boss been a contractor for all these years and stuff. And they're like, they knew the MO. They pranking her. They treating her like this. And she's like, you don't have your clearance yet. And I was like, no, but I said, I'm not talking to you about any other parts of the database that affect the clearance, She was like, I get that. She was like, but you got to go. When we walk out her cubicle, she says to me, I can't talk to you because of Joy. Now, this is not the first time. This is the second time. I can't talk to you anymore because of Joy. And she said, that's your boss out there, right? And I said, what do you mean? She said, that's your boss out there. So I peeked through the blinds and I said, oh, this woman has drove up on the curb, on the sidewalk, y'all, so she could walk across the grass and come bang on the window to see if I'm actually in the building in a meeting. Now, that's beyond comprehensible. Because at this point, I'm not understanding. So I leave out. I'm sad. I'm disappointed. I'm like, I'm thinking, okay, maybe in 2 weeks I can meet back up with her, maybe in a conference room or something, I'm trying to think this through. Like, how can I make this work? I'm still trying. I'm still determined. It's still my job. I'm going to do my job. At least I'm going to try, right? So next thing I know, I come, the weekend goes by, I come back. Oh, Octavia, you got this meeting. Y'all, Joy had put me in these lowly meetings with brand new contractors that were learning like Excel, regular use database. Okay. All right, Sirens, go ahead. You got this. She put me in those meetings to go and sit in this group, right? So I'm over there in the meeting, right? And it was set up like little T90 little cubicles. Excuse me, y'all, T90, that's in my family. We say that. Tiny, small cubicles. So like you're big enough, wide enough for a chair to fit there. If you've been to a university, let's just say like little study areas, small study areas that you could sit at with your chair and your laptop. It's kind of similar to how libraries do it, but smaller. So a row on each side, right? And all of a sudden I hear her voice. And the people around me hide under their desk, hop up out of their chair and run in the other direction and all of this stuff. And I'm thinking, huh? What is going on? So I'm just sitting there and I'm froze because I'm like, what the heck do I do, right? Because like I'm on a PC. They were on laptops. Like I can't leave here. She didn't sign me up for this stuff. And I'm thinking, and mind you, yes, I asked for training. This is true. Not that. I don't need training in that. I was asking for training so I can get the lingo, the verbiage. You know what I mean? Not the milk, the meat of the database. Yes, I asked for training to understand the meat databases, the meat of it. I need somebody to go through this database, tell me all, because of the high level of the verbiage, of the projects, of the database lingo. Because at Homeland Security, they just happen to use different terminology than at Department of State. And at the Department of State, I had been in the IT offices there since 2000. I knew their terminology. I knew their verbiage. I had learned the meat of it. But at Homeland Security, they use different stuff. I was like, why does it have to be so different? It's all IT. Right? It's all IT. Anyway, I was like, okay, whatever. They're new. Because remember, they were new. They're new here. They're doing things their way. I'm going to figure this out. It's not that difficult, Octavia. You're in the learning curve. I was in the learning curve, right, guys? I was like, I'm going to flow with it. I'm going to go with the flow. I gotta. This woman came and tapped me on the shoulder and she was like, is that your manager over there? And I was like, I don't know. And she's like, stand up. I said, did you all dim the lights or something? They had dimmed the lights again. I'm in a whole nother building on a whole different floor, meeting in a group with a whole different type of people doing this study stuff, right? And I stand up and I'm like, yeah, that looks like her, I'm like, yeah, I think it's her. I'm squinting, right? I'm squinting. I'm like, yeah, that's her. They were like, well, she came over to check and see if you were really here. And I said, okay. So I locked my computer and I grabbed my purse and I walked over there and I was like, hi, Joy. Yes. I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but yes, I'm here in the meeting that you signed me up for. I am here. I was like, you don't really have to check to see if I'm here, because inside I'm thinking, why the hell are these people acting like they're scared of you or don't want to be around you? Do they know what you're going through? Because I haven't said a word. Nothing. Haven't made a complaint to anyone. Nothing. Not about her drinking, not about her random questions at my door 3 to 7 times a day about things that I don't know about, so that she could tell me something matter-of-factly in a response and then walk away. And I'm sitting there like, what the heck? I don't know. And I exhale. And you get back to work, because whatever she's on it. I'm not going there with her, right?